Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you for joining me. This is Drawings to Doze Off To for the sleep deprived. And right now, I want you to take a deep breath, lay back, loosen up if you have to. Just completely untense your body and prepare to be at peace and have sweet dreams. Today, before I begin getting into the drawing, I just want to ask one question, and that question is, what cartoon character or animated character, it can be any animated character at all, which animated character reminds you the most of your childhood in a positive way? What character really just brings out that nostalgia to when you were just a happy little kid? I think for me, I would say Gumby. I know a lot of people are probably not expecting that, but Gumby was a character that me and my brother would watch all the time when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I was really young, and I don't know, I just loved Gumby. I didn't understand the whole stop capture kind of thing that they did to film shows like that. I didn't know anything about that, but somehow I knew that I loved it. I love things like that, like Tim Burton movies, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Beetlejuice, and The Corpse Bride. And if you can't tell yet, I'm sure you can. But for those of you who can't and didn't read the title, today I am working on this chalk pastel painting of the Corpse Bride. I think technically her name is Emily. So I'm drawing Emily from the Corpse Bride movie, and that movie falls under the category of what I was talking about, just like Gumby, where they have these little figurines or these little miniature dolls, and they make them appear to be moving on screen by capturing them and then moving them just a little bit and capturing another photo, then moving them a little bit more, capturing another photo, and so on until they have so many thousand images that they put together, and it becomes a movie. That's actually the way that we used to make GIFs. Before I became Photoshop savvy, there was another program where you could add a ton of images together and make them play for like half a second each, or however long it takes. And I would make GIFs of my favorite music videos by screenshotting 1 second, then playing it for another second, pausing, screenshotting that image, playing it for another second, pausing, screenshotting that image. And I did that until I got everything I needed, whether it was 25 images or 150 images. And it was very time consuming. But I would take all of those and put them into this program that I had, and it would put them all together, and you press play and it plays like a video, but it was an image. I was making GIFs, but that's exactly how they film these movies. I mean, I'm sure there's a much easier way technologically for them to do it. I don't know the exact process, but that's kind of the general idea. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of touch base with that. Actually, now that I think about it, when I was 12 years old, I went to a school called Kate Starr Kellogg Electronic Research Academy, and there was this program that we all participated in once we got a little bit older, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And we had different projects that we had to complete. All had to do with technology and electronic research. And I actually had a project to do with another student where we created our own animation that we were given a box of different action figures and dolls and everything. And what's funny is I actually chose Gumby. There was a little Gumby doll in there. So I chose Gumby, and we had to create a little 15 or 20 second animation by taking photos of Gumby and making him move. And what we did was we created this little animation of Gumby hopping on a horse. So that was pretty fun. It's actually really fun to do, but it's just super time consuming. I can't even imagine doing an entire movie like that. I mean, it's just insane, but I love things like that. All right. So I'm working on The Corpse Bride, and the reason I decided to do this piece is because it was October and I had just finished I think it was the Joker painting I did. I had just completed that, and it did really well. People really liked it, and that's not something that I typically do. I don't typically draw characters from movies or TV shows. I kind of just do celebrity portraits or just my own original portraits. But I wanted to kind of keep that momentum going, and I also wanted to stay on theme with Halloween. And so I made a poll on Twitter. I came up with about 4 or 5 characters that I was willing to draw. I believe they were the Corpse Bride, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Beetlejuice, or a character from the Beetlejuice movie, and Pennywise the Clown. And I just asked my followers who they would like to see me paint, based on what they've seen from me in the past, and it was a pretty high lead. The Corpse Bride was definitely what most of my followers wanted to see. I was actually really kind of set on doing a Beetlejuice character. I was kind of planning that out, but I thought it would be kind of mean if I asked people this and I didn't go along with what they chose. So I ended up drawing the Corpse Bride anyway, and I was so happy that I did when I got into it. And definitely once I finished, I was really happy that I got to paint her. Right now I'm working on the eyes, and I just want to talk about this for a second, because I've never painted a two-dimensional character like this. But I've drawn them with color pencils. Actually, I lied. I painted Kermit the Frog and Elmo. And actually, I did the Grinch as well. But yeah, what I noticed from those paintings and from my color pencil drawings that I've done of these characters is that drawing their eyes is so much fun. Oh my god. I just love drawing their eyes. I love getting that perfect combination of like white and gray and all the shadows, and their eyes really like pop. If you look at them, they look like they're about to pop out of their eye sockets. And I think it just looks so cool to me, and I always have so much fun actually doing it. And this was no different. Actually, I think that Emily's eye might be the most fun I've ever had drawing an animated character's eyes before. And those lashes, oh my god. The eye looked great before, but you know, once you put the lashes in it, and it really becomes her. So this picture is a photo of Emily in her wedding gown, and she's holding these flowers, and she's standing next to this candle, well, two candles that are sitting on top of this really tall candle holder. I don't know what those are called. And the light is like this dim, kind of really nice ambiance. It has a really nice ambiance to it, and it's shining off the side of her face. And I chose this image because honestly, it looked the coolest. It looked the most realistic, and the expression on her face, I know it generally is the same no matter what photo of her that you're looking at. She always looks kind of concerned and anxious and worried, but I felt like there was just more dimension in this image than any other ones that I saw. And that's one thing that I will always do, no matter if I'm if I'm drawing a realistic portrait of a real person, or if I'm drawing an animated character, I always want it to have dimension and depth and definition, because that's my favorite thing to portray. And that's another reason I love her eyes so much, because they kind of appear like they're popping out, but also like sinking into her face. Now this right here, she had a hole in her cheek, you know, from decomposition, being underground for so long, being eaten away at, and getting that hole right made me so proud of myself, like making it actually look like there's a hole in her face, instead of just, you know, drawing a dark spot over her face, making it actually look like something has been torn out of her cheek. I was looking at it like, when I finished it, like, wow, Tanae, you really killed that. You really killed that. It looks so realistic. And actually, at this point, I was starting to think that I had made a few mistakes, because her face was coming together, but it wasn't looking quite the way it did in the photo. I felt like I didn't have enough spacing between the eye and the hole, and like her lips were coming up too high, her nose was too big. It was one of those things where you just kind of stare at a piece for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes, trying to find what's wrong, making little adjustments here and here, and still not figuring out what it is. And eventually I realized that her chin wasn't extending long enough. So I went back in and I did that, and her face didn't look as small as it did before, and it looked a lot more accurate and proportional, you know, because even though she's an animated character, I still wanted her to be proportional. So now I'm just putting little finishing touches on the face. I'm done for the most part. I think I'm just gonna go back in a little bit later and fill in the side of her face so that it appears that that gold and purple light is reflecting off of it. And I'm also gonna go back later and adjust the lips some more. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and start on the hair. Hair with pastel is like the greatest thing. If you're an artist who struggles with drawing hair like I am, I should say drawing straight hair or curly or wavy hair, because I can draw kinky hair all day long. But it's just something about other hair textures. You really have to get the flow of the hair and of every strand right. And I just never been able to do that. I have some success here and there, but this one was a lot easier, because with chalk pastel you can BS so many things. And what I mean when I say BS, I more so mean you can finesse it, okay? I had to finesse this hair. She had a million different blues in her hair and a million different directions that it was curling and waving in. And I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna get the general direction of each different colored strand, and I kind of laid a base for it, as you can see what's already done right now. And I just did that over and over. Like, I would kind of lay it down like it's laid down now, and then I would blend it with my fingers, lay it down some more, blend some more, throw some little light strands in over here, and ultimately it came out kind of perfect. You guys will see that a little bit later in the video. So now you can see what I was talking about with the hair. And that's actually her veil on the other side. It's on both sides, but it's more visible on that left side. I'm looking at it right now and I'm really blown away, honestly. Sometimes you really have to just take a step back from your work, look at it from afar, like really look at all the details that you managed to fit in, and just, you really have to applaud yourself, because we all know, anybody who's an artist out there knows that we are very hard on ourselves when we make mistakes. Don't be afraid to praise yourself for the things that you do well, and don't be afraid to celebrate the small victories. So if you've been struggling with a specific thing, like drawing hair, for example, and you do a piece and you kill the hair, celebrate that. Be proud of yourself. You don't have to be hard on yourself all the time. Just when you really need it, just when you like really need a kick in the pants. That's what they say, right? As for the top of this dress, this is something that I attempted to finesse and I wasn't as successful. And I looked at it and I was like, I was gonna leave it at first. The more I looked at it, I was like, no, Tanae, this piece is coming out so perfectly. Don't mess up this one part of it. Like, just try a little bit harder to get it right. And I ended up going back in and fixing it and adding some more wrinkles in and making it look the way it was supposed to look. And I'm not gonna lie, it was hard for me to do. I had been working on the piece for a while at this point, and I was just being lazy, really. I didn't want to do it because I just didn't feel like it, but I pushed myself because I didn't want this one thing to be wrong in a piece that was just so right. And I actually almost did the same thing with the flowers that she's holding, but I also forced myself to go back in there and do it the right way. I think if not the number one, my number one favorite thing about this piece, it's definitely in the top 3, and that is the actual candlesticks and the light, which were also fun to do, even though the light was time consuming as far as blending it perfectly and getting it right. But I just love the look of it. I feel like when you look at the candles, you get more of a cartoonish type feel next to the more like dimensional aspect of it, which is her face. And I just like the way that balances out. I loved the brightness of the orange, and I love the saturation in the candles, and I loved making it look like this golden purple light was really coming off of it, which was hard to achieve when it's against this black and blue background. But, and I mean, I had to go over this so many times. It doesn't really show in this video just how many times that I did, but to get that blending right, to make it look like this light was actually coming off of this candle, and make it fade into the background just right, I really had to put my middle finger to work. That's the one that I blend with mostly, is my middle finger and my index finger. And I'll probably upload a video about my pastel process, because people always ask me how I don't mix colors, how I keep it so neat when pastels are so messy. So I'll definitely make a video going into that in detail. But as you can see, I like to wipe my fingers off on this white tablecloth that I have on my desk whenever I use my pastels. So that's a big help. I really fell in love with this piece. I think it's one of the best things that I've done, and I look forward to doing more animated characters like this. And you guys can let me know in the comments if you want to suggest anyone, and I would definitely take that into consideration. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy my corpse bride. I worked really hard on her. I think she looks beautiful. I do have prints of this piece available on my shop, tenebriana.com. I'll also leave the link in my bio, and the original is actually still for sale as well, so you can purchase that in my shop also. Until the next episode, guys, I hope you have sweet dreams, and good night.